Hi everyone, I'm a gal from the USA, just past my 60th birthday, and I'm still full of energy. Today, I want to share some simple exercise tips to keep us seniors active every day. No need for an expensive gym or fancy equipment, just a few easy moves you can do at home to stay strong and feel good. I've got some fun stories from folks I've met across the country, and I'll walk you through 5 exercises I absolutely love. I've tried them, my friends have too, and the results are amazing. So, grab a cup of coffee, or sweet tea if you're in the South like me, and let's get started. Exercise 1. Gentle neck and shoulder rolls. Let's kick things off with one of my favorites, gentle neck and shoulder rolls. This is perfect if you ever get a stiff neck or sore shoulders. Believe me, I've been there. A few years ago, back in my 50s, I'd spend hours watching The Golden Girls or flipping through gardening books. But sitting too long made my neck creak like an old door, and my shoulders ached so bad I could barely turn my head. I even joked to my daughter once, "Honey, I think my neck's turning to stone." Things changed when I met Betty, an old friend I ran into at a get-together in Nashville, Tennessee. She's 67 now, looks fit as a fiddle, and always has a big smile, the kind of person you just have to ask, "What's your secret?" Betty told me that when she first retired, her neck and shoulders were a mess, especially after long days baking for church fundraisers or watching baseball on TV. She went to the doctor, who said it wasn't anything serious, just muscles that weren't moving enough, and suggested some light exercises. So, Betty started doing neck and shoulder rolls, no equipment needed, just sitting in her living room recliner. At first, she only did it for 5 minutes, rolling her neck a few times, shrugging her shoulders up and down, and she felt a difference right away. She'd play some country tunes, think Dolly Parton or Johnny Cash, and hum along while she moved, making it fun. After a month, she said her neck was way more flexible, her shoulders stopped aching, and she even slept better without that nagging pain. One day she bragged, "Now I can turn my head to watch the grandkids play in the yard without twisting my whole body." Hearing Betty's story got me curious, so I gave it a shot. I started with 10 minutes a day, going slow at first because I was worried about the pain, but I got the hang of it, and now I feel so much lighter. I even roped my neighbor Judy into doing it with me. We'd roll our necks and chat about the latest HGTV shows, making it a little workout party. It's super easy, and I'll walk you through it so you can try it too. Sit up straight in a chair, or stand if you prefer, relax your shoulders, and rest your hands lightly on your thighs. Start by tilting your head to the left, like you're trying to touch your ear to your shoulder, but don't force it, just go as far as feels good, hold for 5 seconds, then come back to center. Do the same on the right, holding for 5 seconds. Next, lower your chin toward your chest, hold for 5 seconds, then tilt your head back gently, not too far, just enough to feel it, hold for 5 seconds. Then, roll your neck in a slow circle, clockwise 5 times, then counterclockwise 5 times. Finish by shrugging your shoulders up high, holding for 3 seconds, then dropping them down, repeat that 10 times. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes total, but if you're new to it, 5 minutes is a great start. What's so great about this? It stretches out your neck and shoulder muscles, easing that tension that builds up, especially if you're sitting a lot or sleeping funny. It gets the blood flowing to your head better, cuts down on those little headaches, and makes turning your head easier. I find it's perfect at night, like a way to unwind before bed. When I first started, I'd do it and then sleep straight through till morning, no more tossing and turning. Betty swears it's why she doesn't need ibuprofen every night anymore, a big win for her. To make it fun, I like playing music, some smooth jazz or a great American songbook playlist, and just soaking it in while I roll. Some mornings, I do it out on the porch, breathing in the fresh air and watching the maple trees sway. Betty loves doing it after her morning coffee, gazing at the squirrels scampering in her yard. She says it makes her day feel lighter. A quick tip: if your neck hurts a lot or you've got something like severe arthritis, check with your doctor first, don't push it too hard. Otherwise, this is safe and feels so good for most folks. I've seen people get creative with it too. Judy, my neighbor, counts out loud like she's singing, 1, 2, 3, and it's hilarious. One time, I did it in front of the mirror, watching myself roll around, and I couldn't stop laughing. It really lifts your spirits. The key is to stick with it, just a little every day, no pressure. Like Betty, who went from thinking her neck was done for to turning her head with ease. Me too. Now when I'm watching Wheel of Fortune with my husband, I can swivel my neck no problem, no more whining about it. Give it a try, start small and build up. Who knows, you might end up like Betty, feeling better and inspiring others too. Exercise 2. Chair leg stretches next up. I've got a gem for your legs. Chair leg stretches. This one's a lifesaver if your legs get tired or your knees feel stiff. I know that struggle all too well. Back when I worked an office job in Atlanta, I'd sit all day, and by the time I got home, my legs felt like lead. I'd tell my husband, "Sweetie, my legs are about to call it quits." Then I met Frank, a guy the first got to know at the local book club. He's 70, used to drive trucks cross-country from Texas to California, so his legs took a beating too. He said after retiring, he'd sit watching Monday Night Football or tinkering with car models, but getting up was tough. His legs would wobble like a newborn colt. Frank heard from a buddy about stretching his legs right from a chair. No standing, no fuss, just sitting there. He started with 10 minutes a day, stretching his legs out, lifting them up and down, while listening to old football games on the radio. He said his legs felt heavy at first, but he stuck with it, and soon they lightened up. After a couple of months, he was walking around the block for 20 minutes without a hitch and even hauled a big bag of groceries from Costco himself. He grinned and said, "Now I can kick a soccer ball around with my grandson in the backyard." Frank's story got me thinking, if he could do it, why not me? So I tried it, and sure enough, my legs got stronger. It's a breeze to do. Sit in a sturdy chair, like your dining room seat or an armchair, back straight, hands resting on your thighs or gripping the chair arms for balance. Stretch your right leg out in front of you, keeping it as straight as you can without locking your knee. Lift it about 6 to 8 inches off the floor, hold for 5 seconds, then lower it. Do the same with your left leg. Repeat 10 times per leg, or fewer if you're just starting. Then, try lifting both legs together, holding for 3 to 5 seconds, and lower. Do that 5 times. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, but if you're tired, take a break whenever you need. Why's this good? It builds strength in your leg muscles, especially the quads, eases knee stiffness, and gets the blood flowing better in your legs. For us seniors who sit a lot, it helps prevent numbness or cramps too. I love doing it in the afternoon. It wakes my legs up after a day of sitting around. Frank says it's why he can climb stairs without huffing now, a huge deal for him. I do this while watching Jeopardy. Stretching and guessing answers at the same time keeps me entertained. Sometimes I sit out back, watching the cardinals flit around, stretching my legs and soaking in the fresh air. Frank likes it after breakfast, tuning into NPR News while he moves. He says it sets him up for an active day. If you've got knee pain or joint issues, check with your doc first. Otherwise, it's gentle and safe for most. Judy, my neighbor, saw me doing it and jumped in. She'd stretch and ramble about going to the Super Bowl back in the day. One time, I synced it to some Eagles rock tunes, and it felt like a mini workout party. The trick is consistency, no rush. Like Frank, who went from wobbly legs to striding confidently, or me, climbing stairs to bed without panting. Try it. Strong legs mean a strong day. Exercise 3. Gentle hip rotations. Now let's talk about gentle hip rotations, a fantastic move to keep your hips loose, super important as we get older and those hips start locking up. When I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, I loved walking around the neighborhood, but there was a stretch when my hips hurt so bad I moved like a robot. I'd tease my sister, "I need some WD-40 for these hips." Then I met Martha, a sweet lady I got chatting with at the local farmer's market. She's 65, used to teach elementary school in Ohio, and now lives just outside Charlotte. She said when she first retired, she'd sit knitting or watching Fixer Upper all day, but her hips started aching, making it tough to stand or sit without wincing. Martha's yoga class friend suggested hip rotations, no mat needed, just standing in her kitchen. She started with 10 minutes a day, gently rotating her hips, listening to her favorite gospel tunes. She said it felt weird at first, but she kept at it, and soon her hips eased up, walking got smoother. After 3 months, she was strolling around the lake near her house for 30 minutes and even joined a square dance at the fair. She laughed, "Now I can two-step to Sweet Home Alabama without falling over." Martha's story lit a fire under me, so I gave it a go, and my hips really loosened up. It's easy to do. Stand up straight, feet shoulder width apart, hands on your hips for balance. Slowly rotate your hips in a big circle, clockwise 10 times, then counterclockwise 10 times. Next, tilt your hips to the left, hold for 5 seconds, then to the right, hold for 5 seconds. Repeat 5 times each side. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, but if you're feeling it, do less, no biggie. Just keep it slow, no jerking. What's the perk? It stretches your hip muscles, cuts down on pain and stiffness, and boosts mobility. Great if you sit a lot or walk plenty. I like it in the morning, it wakes my body up before chores. Martha says it's why she can cook for an hour without aching, a big win for her. I do this while listening to podcasts. This American life is my go-to, just rotating and soaking it in. Some days, I'm out in the yard, watching the oak trees, rotating my hips and breathing deep. Martha does it after coffee, staring at the deer in the fields. She says it's relaxing. If your hips hurt bad, talk to your doctor first. Otherwise, it's gentle and works wonders. Judy caught me at it and joined in, singing country roads while she rotated. I've done it to Fleetwood Mac beats, makes it a blast. Stick with it, no hurry. Like Martha, going from stiff to dancing, or me, stepping downstairs pain-free. Give it a whirl, loose hips make for a happy day. Exercise 4. Arms overhead with breathing. Next up is arms overhead with breathing, a lovely move to open your chest and relax your whole body. When I lived in Denver, Colorado, I'd get this tight feeling in my chest, couldn't breathe deep, especially after busy days with the grandkids or gardening. I'd tell my husband, "Babe, my lungs need a tune-up." Then I met Carol, a friend I bumped into at a book fair in Boulder. She's 69, used to be a nurse at the local hospital, now retired and living near the Rockies. She said when she stopped working, she'd sit reading novels or watching The Masked Singer, but her chest felt heavy, her breath short. Carol's meditation class pal suggested raising her arms while breathing, no gear, just standing in her room. She started with 10 minutes a day, lifting her arms, breathing deep, with some Spotify meditation tracks playing. She said it was tricky at first, but she kept going, and soon her chest felt lighter, breaths deeper. After 2 months, she was hiking short trails near home, even climbing little hills without wheezing. She chuckled, "Now I can belt out happy birthday for the grandkids without running out of air." Carol's story sold me, so I tried it, and my chest feels so much freer now. It's a cinch to do. Stand straight, feet shoulder width apart, or sit if you prefer. Take a deep breath in through your nose, raising both arms overhead, hold for 5 seconds, then exhale slowly through your mouth, lowering your arms. Repeat 10 to 15 times, nice and slow. Then, lift your arms again, lean to the left as you exhale, hold 5 seconds, then to the right. Do 5 times each side. It's about 10 to 15 minutes, but if you're winded, cut it short. Why's it awesome? It opens your chest, boosts lung capacity, eases stress, and loosens up your shoulders and chest muscles. I love it in the afternoon, it's like a reset after a long day. Carol says it's why she doesn't feel tight climbing stairs anymore, a game changer for her. I do it while listening to Simon and Garfunkel, those mellow vibes, just lifting and breathing. Some days, I'm out back, watching the mountains, moving with the cool breeze. Carol does it after breakfast, gazing at the clouds. She says it calms her. If your shoulders hurt or you've got breathing issues, check with your doc first. Otherwise, it's gentle and so good. Judy saw me and joined, singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow as she lifted. I've done it to Norah Jones tunes, pure joy. Keep at it, no rush. Like Carol, from shallow breaths to hill climbing, or me, singing with the kids without fading. Try it. Better breathing means better living. Exercise 5. Short steps in place. Last but not least, short steps in place, a simple way to keep your legs strong and your heart happy. When I lived in Seattle, Washington, I'd sit watching the rain all day, barely moving, and my legs would go numb. I'd joke to my daughter, "Sweetie, I'm turning into a statue." Then I met George, a guy the first met at a local craft fair. He's 71, used to fix plumbing in Portland, now retired near Puget Sound. He said after retiring, he'd watch Seahawks games or work on wood projects, but his legs weakened, making even short walks tough. George's gym class buddy suggested stepping in place, no need to go outside, just standing indoors. He started with 10 minutes a day, taking short steps, listening to the doors rock out. He said it was boring at first, but he stuck with it, and his legs got stronger, walking easier. After 3 months, he was strolling the neighborhood for 30 minutes and hauling coffee bags from Starbucks. He grinned, "Now I race the dog in the yard." George's tale got me moving, and my legs are livelier now. It's easy to do. Stand straight, feet shoulder width apart, hands loose or on your hips. Start taking short steps in place, like walking but staying put, lifting your knees about 4 to 6 inches, going for 10 to 15 minutes. Swing your arms like you're walking if you want, keep it steady. It's 10 to 15 minutes, but if you're tired, do 5 and rest. What's the benefit? It strengthens your legs, boosts your heart, and helps balance, stuff we lose as we age. I love it in the morning, it wakes me up before coffee. George says it's why he walks farther without tiring, a big deal for him. I do it while blasting Bruce Springsteen, those upbeat tracks, and just step along. Some days, I'm on the porch, watching Seattle rain, stepping and breathing it in. George does it after breakfast, looking at the waves. He says it energizes him. If your legs hurt bad, ask your doctor first. Otherwise, it's gentle and works great. Judy joined me, belting Sweet Caroline as she stepped. I've done it to the Beach Boys, such a vibe. Stick with it, no pressure. Like George, from weak legs to running around, or me, walking the block without pooping out. Try it, strong legs mean a strong you. Quote, hope you found these exercises helpful for staying active and feeling great every day. If you enjoyed this kind of sharing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for my channel, Harmonic Aging. I'll keep bringing you more handy tips and fun stories to help us all live strong and vibrant in our golden years. Subscribe now so you don't miss out. Let's make aging awesome together.